Hey guys, so this is gonna be another video. It's gonna be a little bit more different as compared to how we usually do it. So in the past few videos, I've been primarily focusing on local SEO. We're gonna be doing something a little bit more different. We are gonna be doing national. So there are a lot of different niches that we can focus on. Let's do ChatGPT actually. Okay, let's do a random niche that I have no idea, and let's probably do an on-site SEO immediately from that. So I'll ask ChatGPT, give me a random niche that I can do a site audit, SEO site audit that is interested. So random niche, a random niche, and give me a search query that I could use. Okay. Never mind. So they actually have the niche focus there. Okay, we're gonna do that. So let's go to urban beekeeping. That's interesting. I've never worked with a niche like this before. So this is one of the things that we're gonna be urban beekeeping. It looks like a lot of the keywords that's actually showing right now is competitor. I know they're very informational. So right now this keyword is tied to informational intent, and we have a lot of the blog articles listed out here. But I want to see um this niche and try to understand. Big brand. Oh, so they are being funded by a lot of these big name companies. I'm familiar of one of those. So I'm just gonna do this and go to domain overview, and let's just quickly grab some random information for us to work with. Best beats. I'm expecting this to be really strong, and right off the bat, I knew with that. It's gonna be a big brand. Right now, they look like they're growing pretty well this past year. So they primarily started like around late 2022. It seems like they've been growing really steady ever since. This is amazing. They probably are one of the bigger brands. So this is Perfect B or Best Bees. So right now, Best Bees is leading in terms of the other competitors in the area. So this is very interesting. Now we are going to be doing a site audit for a site that's already an authority, that already has keywords and traction. Now, when you think about it, if you're starting fresh, like starting fresh with SEO, you have no initial traction, you have nothing to work with. I think that's a lot more easier as compared to starting with a website that already has the authority, that already has the right keywords in place, and a lot of the initial planning for content. They're doing really well. Now, if you have like a site that you're working with a fresh site, fresh client, that's a lot more easier because you have your competitors. You can reference on what worked for them, and then you can replicate it similarly to you and do it a lot more better as compared to them. So a lot of SEO is just looking at competitors, looking at things that we can take as opportunities. One thing is we can look at the organic research. So let's just view the details, and we could see the positions for any keywords that they are ranking for. So right now they have 32,000 keywords, which is a lot. We have a lot to work with. But let's look at the keywords that are actually getting the traction that they need. So real quick, I can go to the traffic and set greater than and add in 0. That way I can get all the keywords that are actually getting traffic. So right now it's 32,000 here, but let's filter out the best performing keywords that they have. And let's see, we can get a better idea of what keywords are driving the traffic. Now, right off the bat, I don't know why it didn't filter there. It's probably because it has a lot of data. But right off the bat, you can see that 5.4K keywords are driving 100% of the traffic. It gives you a better idea that they're very competitive. They have a lot of things that they've covered. It's really great. The URL structures for the ones here are really odd though. I would love to see what that page is and what keywords that they're ranking. It looks like they're ranking for Carpenter B, which seems to be an informational intent keyword. But it looks like it's a general article talking about bees, a lot of authority. Oh yeah, this article is doing really well. But it's really great. But it looks like they've become a topical authority, like anything bee related. Oh yeah, it's crazy to see it. I would I would love to see aside from their content, but it looks like their content was really good. It looks like they have a very informative article with good images. I don't know if these images that they have assets like videos from YouTube. It's really, really great because Google is looking at all of those signals and they started off with having an author here, and you can see immediately. I mean, there's a lot of people in the SEO space that says that it doesn't really work for people that actually adds an author, and adding the information like this is essentially what they're working with is wanting to build the AAT signal to Google, to show that the author that's writing this page is someone that's actually someone that has good authority, someone that has they're building out this persona. Although I would argue that it could help, but not necessarily as compared to we're doing backlinks. So Google still cannot does not have the capability to crawl the entire site or crawl the entire internet to see if confirm if Brittany Schmus is an authority. I mean, they can literally go here probably and see information, but actually, this is a good idea. I would probably take something similar like this and implement it in one of our clients. But so far, it's actually a good idea. We have good structure. We have the table of contents right here. Right off the bat, they're answering the questions. What is carpenter B? And I'm pretty sure that's one of the keywords that they're targeting. If you go to keyword overview, let's search for that exact phrase. Pretty sure they're done their due diligence in actually doing research. So a lot of that is done correctly. So the types of opportunities, and they have this graphic, very informative. This in itself, the amount of research I've done for an article is already real great. Lots of you have tables here, which is very amazing that they're doing a lot of this. And I think one other thing that they did is looks like they don't really have interlinking happening here. Okay. Uh okay. So they're linking it to another article. It's informative, fairly fair practice, but they don't really have anything that's selling for the brand. Interesting. You can see the ones here that's actually being mentioned, competitors, and they haven't even linked back to this. But it looks like they're very keen when trying to mention competitors. Lots of good assets, lots of good images here. It's very, very good article actually. Yeah, the format is great. You have location pages, but let's not focus more on that. Um, but a lot of the research phase, I'm just trying to get a better idea on what their niche is. So ideally, when you're gonna be starting on any work on an existing site, if you're working with a client that already has a good authority, first thing you could probably do is just go to um, the organic research tab, put their domain, and we are going to be filtering on keywords that are not performing. Because as you remember earlier, out of the 32,000 keywords, the only ones that are actually performing really well are the 5 point something keywords. So a good way for us to do that is to look into there are different positions here. Immediately, we can look at the positions that are already ranking and just needs a little bit more push for them to get the traction that they need. Mhm. Now, if you've already built a good amount of authority, it's fairly okay to not focus too much on the keyword difficulty. Of course, with this range of authority, you would be able to actually create uh you could able to rank easily for keywords like this with just a little bit push. But here you can see looks like I'm not really keen with the URL structure that they have, but it worked out really well for them. So I can't really even say that it's a bad practice. But ideally, we wouldn't add the archive, the date in the URL because it would give out the assumption of it's a very old article. People would want ideally to look at articles that are fresh, that has been maintained. But okay, looks like it's updated. They actually updated, which is good. So they update a lot of the content. Now, one thing if you're optimizing an article, and you can see that this has the different positions here. Queen bee is very broad term, but it's in the fifth position. What we could do is just go to the top of keywords. Let's go to the keyword overview, and let's try to figure out what are the ranking articles here. Now it looks like the articles here that are ranking are the Wikipedia fandom, which is some seems like this is from a game even. Yeah, it's from Terraria, so it's a game. So Google is probably just making assumptions on what the potential keyword is from the user. Since it's very broad, a lot of that's gonna be on different topics like this. But YouTube, but they're ranking really well. At this point, you can't really outcompete the people that are ranking for Wikipedia and these keywords here, only because that you already have this. What Google is essentially doing is they're just grouping out different topics, different clusters here on the search result because it's very broad. So Google will only make an assumption on what the potential topic the searcher is looking for. So in most cases, since they don't have anything to work with, that's the best thing that they could do. So I think they're really doing well with the articles. Actually, it's very powerful that you actually go and update a lot of your content. And most of the time, if your articles are not performing, it will be a good idea to actually roll back and look at the reasons why an article may be underperforming. Either there needs to be a content audit where you have to look at potential topics that weren't really covered really well, or maybe it's too AI generated and it's not really providing anything new in terms for the topic. Now, Google has a lot of factors when you're looking at content. They actually look at the uniqueness of the content, the look of the assets. They look at anything new to the table that you're bringing in, and they're also looking at the backlinks as a sort of authority, especially if you are, if you don't have a good amount of authority yet, they're gonna not likely rank you for competitor keywords. So that's one of the reasons why people will target lower keyword difficulty keywords. Um, for the fact that they would want to get the initial clicks and impressions, therefore slowly building up that authority over time, getting that good amount of links that's natural to, good content. But one thing you have to consider, when you're building out those content, you would want to also consider writing topics that are going to be harder to rank for. So what I would love to do in that scenario is actually we're gonna be doing keywords. We're gonna be doing topics that are lower keyword difficulty, of course, to get initial clicks and impressions. But pairing with that is doing topics that are a bit more harder but are related to your niche. You're not gonna be getting any rankings from that, but you are gonna tell to Google, which is a good signal for them to understand on what you are about. Now you would want to do it that way so that Google can get a better idea and what your website is about. So in this scenario, there's so many things to do, but the best thing to do for now, if you're working with a big site like this, is just looking at the keyword position. Since you are already an authority, you are literally the ones that leading in terms of competitors. You can go ahead and look at any positions you have, and you could probably make it so that you're looking at the 11 to 20 positions, work on improving any of those articles that you're not ranking for yet. So those are good opportunities. So let's just grab a random article and let's look at one here. It looks like it wasn't updated yet, but they're using a lot of the different like assets and images. One thing you might consider, and let's just go here, since this keyword is very broad, okay, it's a very broad keyword. It's very hard to rank for this because there's a lot of things that Google may have suggest here. Right on that, yeah, of course I was assuming that there's gonna be Wikipedia, and there's also probably gonna be, I'm pretty sure there are national brands that's called Hornet, and right off the bat I knew that there's gonna be like a either a company that's already called like that, or a sports group. So there are a lot of things. It's very broad. I really would want to look at keywords that are not of this one. Probably let's start at doing keyword difficulties that are much more easier so we can filter it out here. Ideally, let's just do it 0 to 40. That way we can get a better idea of what opportunities we can potentially get. Now it looks like we have this ones here, and it's already ranking for existing articles we already have. So one way to actually answer this is actually incorporating the content section. And let's go back to what we've seen earlier. When we look at the organic position, it looks like we're ranking for the same article that we've seen earlier. Now we are going to check if we have a keyword like this incorporated in the article. And it looks like we don't have yet. But ideally, when you're thinking about it, I think this keyword position won't be really worth it because it's probably just gonna show up for SERPs, for the people also ask section. I mean, it's good for and I just like I mentioned, it's also the people also ask section. I feel like people are not really gonna be going into the content to the article itself and just go to the people also ask section. Since this kind of keyword is very short, can be answered real quick, but since we're already ranking for this article, we can probably add it somewhere in the article, incorporate it somehow. Now, I don't know the other keywords or the other articles that are ranking for this, but we can quickly go ahead and look at the keyword overview and get a better idea on what kind of topics are actually being covered here. But you see right off the bat, um, it looks like the articles are very specific to the topic. Now, if ideally, if I will be writing in that content, I don't think I will be able to rank for that keyword as effectively as compared to me doing a very hyper specific content regarding that. Now, it's a good idea to actually like create an article like this, which covers like the serious like symptoms, anything that's very specific to kind of search intent. But if you incorporate into this content, we're not really gonna be able to. Yeah, do see that we have the FAQs here that answers that question. But even if do you notice one thing, that even if we incorporated it in the content, we're not ranking for it only for the fact because that people that are searching for it are wanting to get a better idea on like the consequences of carpenter bee sting. So ideally, you would look into like creating an article that's specific in this one. So this is like the one of the top competitors. You ideally create an article like this that's a bit more specific, and probably add an interlinking somewhere in the content. That way you connect this topic to the other one. It's very powerful since they're very interrelated. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why you're not ranking. Even if you incorporated it in the FAQ, it's not gonna push because of the fact that the search intent is not matching of what your article is creating. So by then you would probably just prioritize and doing that same kind of method, going to like any of your weaker articles and just create improvements. Now, how much this article is gonna influence anything in regards with business, I do not know. I would have to get a better idea on the client's end goal and the client's um what their goal is for their SEO. So a lot of these cases um really boils down to the client's goal. We can make assumptions on what potential keywords may be important, but right now here, the best way to actually do um content improvement to just look at positions that are in the 11th and 20th position. You're probably going to be ranking on keywords that are much more lower, only with the fact that um your existing articles do not cover the exact search intent that's people are searching for. Now, this is a bit more winded as compared to the other tutorials I did. Now, not really expecting anyone's gonna be watching this. It's more for me. So far I learned so much here and this stuff. It'd be interesting to actually do this more. And yeah, that's it for now. Bye bye.